Honestly, I have no idea what happened that day. It still has me questioning my mental state. Even now, a nomological person, but I still believe there's something to being able to witness the other side. Too much has happened in my life not to believe there is a fine line between the living and what teeters on the edge of what only a handful of us get to see. Well, hello my friends. Won't you come and join me as I retell the story of the Umbrella Lady? This all happened back in my early 20s. Little things happened in my life that I drew up to coincidences, but this was the first interaction with an alleged apparition I can pinpoint. So to understand my confusion, I'd like to just explain where this took place. I'd lived on a densely populated estate in a cul-de-sac since I was around 5. This cul-de-sac overlooked a piece of green that led onto a pretty busy main road. Across from this green and main road there was a pub. Next to that pub was a bunch of trees, kind of a small forest, but there was a path at the end of it where a set of houses jutted out, so you could, in theory, walk through and out behind this small patch of forest to more houses. Just on the edge of the path there was a bus stop, and opposite was the one corner shop in the whole estate. This will become relevant later on, I promise. That day started just like all the others. Had breakfast, fought for the bathroom. There was 5 of us in a 3-bedroom house back in the day. I left at the same time as usual for the bus to work after popping into the corner shop for my morning Coke and crisps. But as I stood at the bus stop, mentally preparing for another fun day in retail, it got weird though. A woman slowly approached me and asked if the bus was due, and forever polite like my mum raised me, I nodded with a smile and said yes in around 15 minutes. To this day though, what she looked like is etched in my brain. Even though she seemed kind and was familiar, something about her had me a little rattled. This heavy-set middle-aged lady who wore a dark beige top and cream-coloured trousers reminded me of my nan on my dad's side. Her tinted glasses hid her eyes just enough, but her thinning, wispy white hair blew in the gentle breeze. Oh, and even though it wasn't raining or overcast, she carried an open umbrella. Even though I thought that was odd, it's not my place to judge others' accessory choices. Even though I felt a little off, this woman began making small talk as we waited for the bus. Me, being forever the people pleaser, conversed with her in politeness. She spoke quietly though. I didn't have my voice raised, but I felt I needed to mimic her as we spoke about bus infrequency and the like. I looked across at the corner shop, which was always busy, and saw the shop owner, who I'd known for many years by then, stood in the doorway, staring and squinting his eyes at me. I nodded at him in recognition as he went to put some rubbish in the main bin at the corner. A few minutes later, I saw the bus chugging up the road. I turned to gesture to the lady in unified relief it had finally arrived, but she was gone. There really wasn't anywhere she could have gone other than the path behind me, so I figured she'd got tired of waiting and left through that way without making any sound. I got on the bus with a shrug, got to work and got on with the day. I totally forgot about her until I happened to pop in the corner shop a few days later. The shopkeeper, let's call him A, saw me browsing the magazines and asked if I was okay. Same old, I nodded with a smile, thinking he was just being his usual A self. The other day too, he frowned. Huh? At the bus stop, he said. I squinted my eyes, then remembered the only other time I'd seen him was on the way to work at the bus stop the other day. But I saw he had a look of genuine concern today. Of course, I half laughed. I'm always okay. Okay then, he shrugged and scurried off. But he caught up with me at the till. No one was around, so I figured he had something on his mind and wanted to take the opportunity to ask. We weren't friends. A's owned that shop since I was a teen, but I could tell there was something itching inside his brain he wanted to ask me. Was you on the phone? He asked. When? I frowned as I handed him my money to pay for my Monster Munch. Waiting for the bus, A answered. No, I shook my head. This was back before Bluetooth earbuds and decent speakerphones existed. Talk to yourself a lot? A, I sniggered. What are you getting at? A does like to joke around with the kids, but he has a weird sense of humour. You can call it the language barrier, seeing as him and his family came over from India back in the day and are still thriving now. But this was weird, even for him. So who were you talking to the other day? He asked. The woman with the umbrella, I sniggered. I often hide being anxious or embarrassed with laughter, and I could feel I was getting creepy vibes just then. There was no one there, he half laughed, possibly mimicking my early reactions. Oh, come on, I sniggered again. If this was a joke, it wasn't funny anymore. I proceeded to describe this lady and how I thought I knew her from around the estate. A's wife appeared out of nowhere. That woman has this superpower of giving a good jump scare. She's so tiny and quiet. A's eyes widened as he and his wife stared at each other. A's wife proceeds to tell me who this woman sounded like and that she'd died last week, even had the wake at the pub. She'd stayed in one of the houses just through the path I'd been waiting for the bus at. I stood there for a while, just shocked to silence. She was very sick, A's wife sighed, but she loved getting out and about. And she was never without an umbrella at the end, A added. UVs, she told us once. A nodded. If this was a joke, it was just cruel and sick, and they'd gone too far. But A and his wife were adamant this was her, even pointed to a memorial picture in the window as I left. I clutched my crisps as I inspected the picture in the window. I'd not got a good look at her eyes, but the face, the hair, albeit less grey, looked a lot like the woman I'd been waiting at the bus stop days after she passed away. My ears rang and my head was spinning as I dazedly head home. For days after, I said nothing to anyone. They'd think I was mad, I thought. Heck, even I questioned if I needed that padded room. I even thought A and his wife would say something whenever I went into the shop, but it was never mentioned again. I actually think that was for the best. Even after the coast was clear with A and his wife, I still said nothing to no one. Even my very intuitive, open-minded mum, who swore all the women in our family had the sense from our ancient gypsy blood. All these years, I still question why I was the only one who saw her. I never knew her in life. She never asked for help either, if she needed it back then at all. That's what they say, don't they? Spirits come to us for help so they can move on. I like to think she was just going about her business, even after she passed, because she loved her life the way it was, and maybe was just in need of someone to talk to for a while. I'm kind of humbled and flattered that I was the one she chose, even if to me, I still don't understand the reasons why. Maybe one day she'll eventually catch that bus to wherever she wanted to go, and maybe I'll see her again, that interesting lady with the umbrella. Well, thank you very much for joining me on this one, everyone. I really am appreciative, and I'm so happy and humbled that you stuck around for as long as you did. And if you do like true spooky stories just like I enjoy telling them, I really hope you pop back in for the next few, because there are quite a few I'd like to share with you. But for now, I really hope you do stay safe and, of course, stay spooky, my friends.